So, clever intro aside, this is going to be about a fragrance that a lot of people are triggered over. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people love the person who made it, some people hate the person who made it. But at the end of the day, it's kind of got that Paris Hilton-like effect. Publicity is publicity, and that's what people love to do, is talk about stuff. You know, spilling the old tea. Fragrance we're going to be talking about is Fragrance 1, Offers for Men by Jeremy Fragrance. Stay tuned. What's going on, YouTube? I'm back and I'm Joshua and you are you, and this is your channel, ScentSense. To all my loyal subscribers who have stuck with me through thick and thin, thank you so much. And to all you new people who are maybe checking out the channel for the very first time, maybe you just Googled Jeremy Fragrance and you stumbled upon this video. If you did, I hope you consider subscribing. And if you're on the fence and you're not too sure, I'm not the Golden State Warriors. I won't sweep you and kick you out the playoffs like a Thanos snap. Today we'll be talking about a much more polarizing scent than anything I can think of. And not because of what it smells like, but because of who made it. So precursor, before I dive into this, no, I did not buy a bottle. I'm sure many of you didn't think I would. If you're fans of this channel, you know me, you know I probably wouldn't buy one. I was sent this decant by my buddy Joe over at the channel Joe Sent Me. Now before I dive into this video, I'd just like to take a chance to say, guys, if you've watched Joe's video, I've seen a lot of the comments, and I know you guys don't know Joe, and I understand it's surface level. And Joe's a really nice guy, and he comes off as that guy who just wants everyone to like him and wants everyone to just be nice and be friends. That is a lot like who he is, but he's not this like pathetic sad sap who's like following Jeremy around, tugging on the back of his shirt. He sincerely has a friendship that he's formed with Jeremy, and he sincerely cares about Jeremy. I, on the other hand, don't have that friendship, so maybe you'll be more accepting of my understanding and my criticism or my complaints or my praises of this fragrance. But guys, I know y'all give him a hard time, but maybe y'all should just kind of pump the brakes. And if you haven't watched this video, you should go watch it, because at the end of the day, he's just telling his side of the story. And we all have one. So of course, like I said, I was not sent a free bottle. No one was sent a free bottle. Everyone had to buy their own bottle, and it was quite pricey. So the fragrance came in a 100 milliliter size bottle. It looked a whole lot like this one. This is a Molecule 01 from Eccentric Molecule. Pretty much another fragrance that Jeremy has hyped. I personally got this as a partial, as a gift. I think it's a great fragrance for what it does. It's not something that I wear every day, and it's not something that I think is the greatest thing since sliced bread, but that's another story for another video. When it comes to the bottle design of this fragrance and of Jeremy's fragrance, it was very boring, very plain, very mundane, and it didn't have a cap. And apparently a lot of people were very triggered by the fact that there was not as much effort put into the making of this bottle to match the fragrance and the price tag at which it was to be had. From what I understand, I think it was like 110 euros, which is roughly like 130, 140 bucks for the bottle. Or if you wanted to do the get two bottle price, it was like 90 euros a bottle, which was roughly like $100 or so dollars. 110, whatever it is, I don't know the transition of the, from the British pound to American dollar. But anyway, it was quite expensive. So we're gonna say it was about $100 a bottle if you bought two, and like 130, 140 if you bought one. So it's kind of up there. Now that price was the Kickstarter price. That was the get the broken, beat down, cheap bottle price, but yet the same juice. And now it's gonna be in a nicer presentation. It's gonna supposedly be this beautiful bottle, and it's gonna be 175 euros, which is roughly about $200. Now, a lot of people were clamoring for this fragrance because they wanted to smell it. Some people wanted to smell it merely just to bash it. Some people wanted to smell it, to just get the experience. And some people are just big time fanboys and wanted it simply because Jeremy Fragrance had something to do it. Alberto Mariales, or however you say his name, is the one who made this fragrance. He is a master perfumer. He has made many big time fragrances. I'm sure even if you didn't know it, you sprayed something on you that he's created or had a part in making. This was no small feat for Jeremy or anyone who was a YouTuber to go ahead and get someone of that caliber to even consult with them about a fragrance, much less make a fragrance for them. Now, all the pleasantries aside, let's get down to brass tacks. The first thing I want to talk about is price. I personally think this is quite overpriced. I think the original formulation, the very first bottle, the Kickstarter bottle, I do think it's overpriced. I do think that a lot of people who have spoken about it, mainly other YouTubers who have said anything great about it, have said the first bottle price was okay with them, that they think it's worth that, they think it's a great high-end designer level fragrance, you know, barring on something like the replica line from Maison Margiela or a high-end Dior. They think that that's where it belongs, that's kind of where it sits, and they think that the higher price tag, the new bottle, the new part that's coming out is going to be way too high. I, on the other hand, think both prices are entirely too high, and I'll tell you why. The main reason why is because when it comes to this fragrance, I think that if it was to be priced that high as a brand new fragrance, it would have to do something special for me. Now, if you buy into the nostalgia of it being a bottle that you can hold on to, that's going to be the original creation, kind of like getting Aqua de Jo before it came out in some stupid, ugly bottle, but because it's a limited edition, essentially, in a discontinued bottle, it's going to skyrocket in value, and you want to sit on it and you think you can get a bunch of money for it, or because you're a fanboy of Jeremy, then yeah, it's worth it to you. And I have no issues with that, no qualms with that. Then that's what you should do. You should go out and get it. Or you probably already did. If you're buying this solely on scent alone, and you are definitely a collector, because most people who watch this channel are people who collect fragrances or have a few on the shelf, this is probably not gonna be the one for you. As Manny from Cascade Scents said, you know, if you're gonna be buying it based off of the value at the high price point, or if you're buying it expecting something spectacular and you already own these right here, then you probably shouldn't buy it. Because you know what, for the price of the high-end new bottle that's gonna be almost $200, you can buy like 4 of these, 5 of these, you can buy at least 2 or 3 of both of these. So you kinda can do this, and these kinda do what that does. And if you watched my sis's video over at the channel Curly Scents, no, we're not biological siblings, but we're close at heart. She did a video where she went out on the streets, which I thought was great, and talked to other females and asked them what did they think about Jeremy Fragrance's fragrance, and compared it to Bleu de Chanel, blind tested them, asking them which one do you like more, and then once she decided which one they liked more, or they decided which one they liked more, she asked them on a scale of 1 to 10, why would you rate it that way? Against Bleu de Chanel, it was a direct tie. Having said that, Bleu de Chanel is a lot cheaper than this fragrance. Now, not a whole lot cheaper, but about $20 or $30 or $40 cheaper than their first one, and then definitely like half the price, if not less than half the price, of the one that's going to be coming out later with the nicer bottle. You got the name of Chanel on it, you have the backing of the quality of that product that's been out for a while, that has a reputation, going against a fragrance from a YouTube celebrity. Now, I'm not bashing Jeremy when I say that, I'm just saying if you're basing it off of that value, a person who's buying based off of what you would expect from, you know, buying something from Walmart or buying something from some mom and pop store that you've never heard of in some random town, you're probably gonna trust the Walmart more because it's Walmart or it's Target, and the brands they sell there, you know those brands. You know, you're gonna get a Gatorade, which is a, you know, a sports drink that's been around forever and started it off, or you're gonna get Thirst Obliterator. You know, at the end of the day, you're gonna trust the Gatorade. So now let's get into the scent, and I'm gonna go ahead and spray on my hand this so I can get a little refresher course. So out of the gates, it's super, super strong, it's super aggressive, it's super in your face, and no offense to Jeremy, I find that this fragrance is very much him. He's very, very aggressive, he's high energy, he's kind of in your face sometimes, and you know, he's not somebody who you can just easily ignore or discredit. He's very polarizing, and I find that that's exactly what you get from this. When it comes to projection, it is very, very strong for the first 3 hours. For me, I wore this, and for 3, almost 4 hours, people were telling me that is entirely too strong. I was walking around in a shop, a building, an offshore oil field company building with the roll doors opened, air breeze blowing through with fans, and people were saying I was strong and they could smell me from like multiple feet away. So that tells you right there that that thing is super strong. I mean, it's literally filling the entire room I'm in. I'm sure it's gonna be what my wife smells when she walks in. Now, having said that, for me, it was kind of like a guy who was just in college, you know, and just started to date girls. Maybe was like a virgin through high school, not trying to get too, you know, sexual with it, but maybe, you know, strong at first, but then just gone that quick. It lasted about 5 hours on my skin. After that, super skin scent. It was kind of just pretty much gone. It wore close to the skin. I could smell it. I'm sure if I got someone closer to me, they could smell it. If you wear it with as many sprays as what Jeremy would wear, maybe it'll last longer. I did about 6 sprays, 1 on each side of the wrist, 1 on each side of the neck. That's 4, 1 on the chest and 1 on the back of the neck to just do the whole Jeremy thing. Got lots of comments from coworkers. Some people thinking I smelled too strong. Some of the ladies thought it smelled good, but they said they smelled something like that before. They thought they even knew what it was. One of the guys asked me what I was wearing. I told him what I was wearing. He knows me as the fragrance guy. He said, oh, I know what that guy is, that Jeremy fragrance guy. He's the one who got me to buy Invictus and that Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Male one, the blue bottle. I said, oh, okay, you're talking about Ultra Male. He's like, yeah, whatever it's called. So when it came to responses, I got lots of them, and it was either good or bad or neutral, but I got lots of them. So for a fragrance to get that attention, it does its job if that's what you're going for. Having said that, this is supposed to be an office scent. So to me, in my personal opinion, out the gates, it's really loud. So this is something you'd have to spray on you, drive to work, and hope that it kind of dies down, and you'd have to be light on the trigger. We've talked about projection, we've talked about longevity, let's talk about sillage. I left my office and one of the guys I work with, his name is Chris, he wouldn't even walk in the door. He said my entire office reeked of this. I said, reeked? You didn't like it? He goes, no, I didn't say it was bad. It was just a really strong odor, really strong scent. It was just pushing out of your door and you weren't even in there. It's like I thought there was a ghost who was made of cologne. Of course, where I work at, everyone calls it cologne. No one calls it fragrance. Now, getting into the scent of this, what I really think about it and what I think it reminds me of, guys, it's very simple. You take the blue craze, the fragrances that are easy to wear, that are popular, what Alberto Morealis would probably be charged with doing, which is Jeremy would be an idiot not to do, making something that's mass appealing, something that's easy to wear. Take that, take the Bleu de Chanel, Sauvage, Versace Dylan Blue, all of those fragrances that Jeremy has highly touted, take that and then spray Aqua Amara in it without the sea saltiness, without as much citrus. That sharp, you know, zap that you get from Bulgari's Aqua Amara, as Jeremy calls it, the strength of the ocean, I can smell it in here. It's definitely got some lean from that. It's definitely got some motivation, some inspiration from Aqua Amara. I really think that Jeremy decided to take this fragrance and make it him. Something that he's had these multiple fragrances he's talked about throughout time and kind of mishmash them together and make something that he thought was great. I personally feel like he was smart in doing this, but I feel like he was capitalizing on the fact that he's pushed all these fragrances all these years and subconsciously told you that this is what you should wear, which is what he's done. He's been very accomplished in that. He's done really well with it, but I think that he took those notes, those characteristics of those fragrances that he's talked so much about and just basically made a fragrance gumbo, if you will. And I can definitely, I mean, dude, that's all I get in my brain is the sharpness, that note you have that everyone knows from Aqua Amara that's thrown into the Aqua DNA, and then the freshness and the soapy shower gel scent that you get from the other ones. Having said that, am I saying this is bad? Like, oh my God, this is terrible, this is cat piss, this is synthetic trash, and just bashing it? No, not at all. It does smell pleasant. It doesn't smell bad. But if I own all those other ones that I've shown you, if you own all those other ones I've shown you, there's really no point in buying it because of redundancy. It's not something that stands out so much that you can't live without it. Now, for a second, if you could separate yourself from your hatred for Jeremy or your hatred for the situations that surround Jeremy or your love for Jeremy or anything to do with Jeremy, and you were to put Aqua de Jo, Bleu de Chanel, Dior Sauvage, Versace Dylan Blue, every crowd mass appealing fragrance that has been successful in the history of time and put them in the exact same bottle that Jeremy's came in and didn't put any name on them, and they were just blank canvases, and all you had to go on was your nose, and you didn't have a large plethora of fragrances, and you were walking into a store to buy one, you're not gonna not wanna like that one. You're going to smell it and be like, man, that's really good. A lot of people are basing this off of who it came from, who made the fragrance, who's selling the fragrance, just everything about him. Separate yourself from that. Get a sample if you want to. Smell it. At the end of the day, it's pleasant. It's not a bad one. So don't get hung up on how ugly the bottle is and the amount of time you should have had to make this fragrance. Guys, fragrances are super expensive. I know people are like, oh, they have these big houses, they make these fragrances, and when they do, they put them in these bottles and it only costs them like $8 to make it. They're selling it for gobs of money. Yeah, L'Oreal Paris can afford to own a bunch of freaking fragrance brands and make like gazillions of bottles and make the price go way down. Jeremy, for all intents and purposes, when it comes to them, is nothing burger. So the fragrance that he's made and the amount of bottles he made, it drives the price up. Am I defending Jeremy? No. I'm trying to educate you. So before you make a decision to say this is trash because it's so high priced and the bottle looks like trash and the fragrance is synthetic and smells like a lot of stuff, take all of that into account. If you own over 25 to 30 fragrances, don't buy this. Don't buy it. It's pointless for you to own this. But I believe Jeremy's purpose in making this fragrance is so the everyday guy who only wants to own one fragrance which he will wear in the office that is ultra versatile, ultra crowd pleasing, easy to wear, very much a compliment getter. That is what this is. So if you don't own Versace Dylan Blue, Acqua di Gio, YSL, all of these fragrances that fit that same bill, then yeah, it would be a great buy in that aspect. But since the majority of you and myself included go to Dillard's or Macy's or Sephora or any of these other places and know the cost of these bottles and know these brands and have experienced them all our lives, you know that the value at what you pay for those, the price point at which you pay for those is already high in your book because you go buy it from some website online like FragranceNet. So if you're not willing to pay those prices for those fragrances in store, then you're not going to want to buy this fragrance. If you're a guy who's watching this video and you don't own a bunch of fragrances and you want one fragrance and you're only going to wear one, this is easy. Hence why the name's called Fragrance One. You know, it's going to be the one fragrance you need for the office. So in closing, guys, great projection and sillage, longevity, and when it comes to originality, it's got a 0 on that. It smells like the Blue Craze mixed with Aqua Amara. It's got a spiciness to it. It's very sharp when it comes to that, and it does kind of dry down to a woody, musky, blue note fragrance. Guys, this is not anything special or new, but does it smell good? Yes. So if you can separate yourself from what it is and you have the money to spend on the bottle, as expensive as it is, go for it. If you're a person who doesn't want to spend gobs of money and spend $200 on a fragrance that doesn't smell anything more special than all the other blue fragrances out there, then don't buy it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you come back for more. If you did enjoy this video and you want to join the crew, go ahead and subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, no pressure. But if you do subscribe, or you are subscribed, go ahead and smash that notification bell. That way when my videos come out, you people will be the very, very first to know. And as always, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below. Have you smelled this fragrance? What do you think about this fragrance? What do you think about my thoughts on the fragrance? Or what'd you eat tonight? You know, what'd you eat for dinner? Or what'd you eat last night? Just leave a comment. And as always, and most importantly, I'll smell you later. Peace!